I originally had an extraordinary appearance, but in order to avoid being chosen to enter the palace as a palace maiden, I went to great lengths to tarnish my own image, making myself appear vulgar and unattractive. When the eunuch saw me, he waved me away with a disgusted look, telling me I couldn't enter the palace and ruin the emperor's eyes. Seeing that my goal was achieved, I happily prepared to leave with my maid. Unexpectedly, the scheming woman, in order to highlight her own beauty, bribed the eunuch, insisting that I be allowed to enter the palace to serve as her foil. What she didn't know was that the woman everyone despised was actually the emperor's beloved wife for many years. Years ago, I had replaced someone else's identity and stayed by the emperor's side, going through life and death with him until he ascended to the throne. When he was about to make me his empress, I fled the palace in the middle of the night to avoid the crime of deceiving the emperor. The emperor searched for me for 3 years, but 3 years later, I was brought back home by my biological father and was once again forced to participate in the selection. To prevent the emperor from recognizing me, I had to continue tarnishing my image. But when the emperor saw me for the first time, he actually remembered his beloved wife. So he approached me, but my disfigured appearance startled him. I silently prayed that the emperor wouldn't recognize me. He also thought to himself that he must be going crazy, mistaking an ugly woman for his empress. So I deliberately made fun of him. He angrily prepared to leave, and the eunuch immediately announced that I could go. I happily thanked the emperor, but to my surprise, my words provoked the emperor's vanity. In a fit of anger, he decided to keep me in the palace. This left everyone stunned, but the most difficult person to accept was me. The emperor made me the lowest ranked concubine, while the scheming woman was favored by the empress dowager and made the imperial concubine in charge of the harem. To urge the emperor to favor the new women, the empress dowager arranged for him to visit 3 newly selected concubines. In one day, I was glad I was of low rank, living in a remote palace and being the last one in line. When the emperor finally came to me after a month, I planned to fake my death and escape the palace. But soon after, my maid hurried in to tell me the emperor had already visited 10 concubines' chambers, and the favored concubine was already the 20th. The emperor stayed at each chamber for a while, and besides giving a perfunctory greeting to the empress dowager, he was searching for answers. He didn't know why his beloved woman had left him, so he sought clues from the impressions of each concubine. Hearing their flattery only annoyed him, and he ended the rounds early. I was frantic when I heard the news. I quickly pretended to be sick and had the maid report it to the imperial doctor. So the emperor went to the scheming woman's room to make sure she kept the emperor's attention. I immediately sent a message telling her not to wear blue clothes or a plum blossom hairpin and to prepare for 2 possible outcomes. Then I confidently prepared to bathe and sleep. But the scheming woman misunderstood, thinking it was a ploy to fight for the emperor's favor, and deliberately wore blue clothes and a plum blossom hairpin. When the emperor saw her outfit, he immediately confined her to her palace for a month. Even after the emperor angrily left, the scheming woman still didn't know why he was angry. It wasn't until